before we begin the upgrade, we need to establish a couple of major things. First of all, is this installation a standalone or is it a server-based install? If you launch your control panel and look at programs and features, you'll see a Kofax Capture 10 installation entry, and you'll see if it's either standalone or if it's a server-based install. Next, we need to establish if you're possibly running an OEM version of Kofax VRS. If you are, you will actually see another entry in the program features area called Kofax VRS, and it'll either indicate version 3.5 or 4.5. Please note the version. The next thing we need to do is establish if you're currently using a Kofax VRS license. To do this, you fire up the Kofax license utility, and in there you'll see an entry with the word Kofax VRS Elite for workgroup or production. Please take a note of this. Now that we've determined if it's server or standalone, you'll be executing your setup program and or your upgrades from either the server, so you'll run it at the server, or if it's a standalone, you'll be running the setup program locally from the local workstation. There are two modes in which you can run the setup. One is just executing the setup by itself, and that can be used for anyone that's running Kofax Capture where they have a licensed version of VRS, as we've seen in the license utility. You can run the setup without any other parameters. Else, if you are running or if you've got a Kofax OEM version of VRS and it's version 4.5, then you need to run the setup program with a command line switch indicating no VRS. However, if you do have a OEM version of VRS and it's version 5 or 5.1, then you can actually proceed with just running the setup without a command line, which will just update the internal Kofax VRS, which is fully compliant with your version of the OEM version of VRS. So once again, if you've got VRS installed, the OEM version, version 5 or 5.1, just run the setup without any switches. Now that we've established where we're going to run the setup program from, if it's a server or standalone, and two, if we need to apply a switch to not install or install Kofax VRS, the next thing we need to prepare ourselves for is that we need to ensure that all the services for Kofax Capture has stopped, and especially if you're running any import controllers. And in case of a server install, you'll have other workstations also running some Kofax modules. You'll need to ensure all of those have stopped and everyone is out of the Kofax batch manager and is not processing any batches anywhere on any PC. So for server installs, make sure that all Kofax modules have stopped on all computers, and on a standalone, check that the local computer isn't running a service, and now you're ready to begin your installation. So choose your options, server or workstation, and then run the appropriate commands from the appropriate machines. In this video, the demonstration illustrates just how to run the setup from a standalone with no switches being applied. So we need to log in as administrator, disable our UAC, disable any antivirus, and run Kofax setup from the CD or DVD, or if you've copied the ISO and extracted it onto your local drive, run the auto file run, or there is a capture setup directory location under the Kofax Capture structure. So if you click install, the installation will just take you through some basic steps. You just need to confirm and OK and accept all the appropriate settings. It'll detect a previous version of Kofax Capture 10, and you just need to follow the bouncing ball. Certain update components can take a few minutes, so be patient and wait for the applications to run its course. In this case, it's locking onto the database and making changes to the SQL database. And now it's proceeding with upgrading the actual applications. If you see this error, ignore it, hit the cancel button, and it'll continue with the next part of the stage, which is verifying the license. So basically you're now accepting the licensing model. It will try to reactivate your current license, so you do need an internet connection. You just click on the automatic function. It will go out to Kofax server and confirm that your license is true and valid. It'll then ensure that your license is completely activated. Accept the log conversion. It's now going to look at your existing batch classes and convert them to support the new Kofax Capture 10. It'll also publish them and make them available for you to use immediately once this process is completed. We suggest once it's completed and you've installed the batch classes that you upgrade your batch classes to the latest release, which supports the enhanced Kofax 10. Once the installation is completed, you'll be running the service pack, and after the service pack you can start all your services. Now that the application has installed, the next task is to just check if there are any service packs. In this case there will be one service pack as part of your downloads, so please apply the Kofax 10.2 service pack. It's a brief upgrade service pack, so just once again follow the screen instructions and it will patch your Kofax 10.2 accordingly. For those that have just done the standalone only installation, this concludes the upgrade. However, if you were to do a server install, basically what you've done is you've prepared all the server, including the setup files, so that they can now be run on all the other existing workstations. So you first of all need to ensure that you've patched the server using the service pack, and then for all clients that have got server installs and additional workstations, you log on to those workstations, connect to the share called Capture SV WRK install, and you run the setup, either the setup as a standalone or the setup with the no VRS switch, depending if you have VRS installed on those workstations. So the server installation needs to continue and to be applied to all the other workstations. For every workstation that you perform the upgrade using the share location, the WRK inst location, you also still have to apply any service packs to each workstation separately. Even though the upgrade will update the core application to 10.2, even though you've patched the server to 10.2.1, it doesn't mean that the workstations get those service packs applied. So for each workstation, please also ensure that you've applied the service packs too. The next thing you'd like to do is just ensure that your services are going to start or have started due to the upgrade. In particular for those who are running the AIC or the Auto Import Controller. So just go to your Administrative Tools and your Services account and check to make sure that the AIC module has started if you have one, and then if you are running the Kofax PDF recognition and export connectors, that you automatically start those as well if they haven't already started as part of the normal upgrade. In this case, they have restarted and you are now ready to start processing using the new Kofax Capture 10.2. As part of the Kofax Capture 10.2 software upgrade, we also have a new set of batch classes that will perform and that have been designed specifically for only Kofax Capture 10.2. So at this point I suggest you now upgrade your batch classes to support the new Kofax Capture 10.2 and look at the how-to videos.